Hey there, welcome to Hiking for Health CA. Doing another campground review because we did plenty of that this year. My wife and I had a good time doing a lot of camping. We even want to do a little bit more, but a few things kind of changed that plan. This time I'm going to go over Pinnacles National Park, which, fun fact, is the smallest as far as square mileage goes national park in the United States. So that's kind of cool. Sort of. I mean, it depends on what you mean. The other fun fact that you might need to know if you're going to go visit there is Pinnacles National Park has an east side and a west side, and the two sides are not connected by a road. So if you are camping in the campground, which is on the east side of the park, and you go through the west gate from, like, say, Highway 101, you are not going to get to the campground. You're going to have to go back, go all the way around, which I think is about an hour drive, and then come through the east entrance where the campground is. So just keep that in mind if you're planning a trip. And I do think you should plan a trip. It's going to be weird because you're going to see my score, but I'm going to explain why I scored it that way as I do in most reviews. So we're going to get right down to the nitty-gritty. The campsite itself was okay. It was average. I didn't necessarily feel packed in, but I do know at least the campsite we have, and as always, this is a personal review. It's my experience that I had there. You might have gone there and had a completely different experience, but even driving around from what I saw, you're kind of on top of at least one or two other campsites, the way they are set up. I didn't see any campsite that was fairly secluded. There are a couple, I think, that were like, okay, yeah, if you're parked in there, you've got some good privacy there and stuff like that. Not bad. But for the most part, like where we were camped, there was nothing next to us that was all in a marked off little area where people aren't supposed to go. Some kids would go in there anyway to play. And what are you going to do? When I was a kid, I'd want to play in there anyway. But, there's no campsite there and stuff, so that's nice. But then on the other side of us, there's a campsite almost right on top of us. So if there's two people in the campsite if there's people in each campsite, you're just going to be in each other's business because that's just how it is, because we were right next to each other. And then right across the road from us was another one that seemed like it itself was kind of secluded, but there's a pathway that leads to the bathrooms, and I'll tell you why that's in quotes in a little bit, that goes right through your camp. So if anybody is in the bathrooms there and they didn't want to walk the long loop and they take that little path when the creek is dry, which is most times in the summer, they're going to come out right in your campground and be right on top of you as they walk through. So campground sites themselves, we liked ours because it was backed up to a hill where we could see. I mean, we were right on the edge of the park where this part of the campground is. We were in the back area of the campground. So the view was okay. We kind of had a hill and some cool trees, and it was fun to watch the squirrels play amongst the trees in the mornings and stuff like that. But it wasn't exactly a spectacular view, but it was all right. It served its purpose and things like that. Actual camp amenities, I gave them a pretty good, well, let's say I gave them mixed. Depends on what you mean by amenities. So here we go with the bathroom issue. For whatever reason, if you camp in most of the Pinnacles area, you get showers and you get running water, porcelain toilets, and bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, in the very back loop where we ended up camping, because I guess they've had problems in the past keeping water flowing and keeping pipes from breaking or whatever the issue was, they just gave up, bulldozed the bathroom that used to be there, and now it's porta potties. So if you're camping elsewhere in the park, you've got shower amenities and you've got bathrooms. If you're camping in that back area, no, you got porta potties. And if you want the showers, you got to drive up to the front to use them over by the pool. So, oh, by the way, this national park has a pool. a swimming pool, and it does, and it's free to use if you are a camper. So that's kind of a cool. So see the amenities. It's kind of neat. Their visitor center and general store is really nice. Got a lot of good stuff in it. A lot of cool things. A lot of good souvenirs. All kinds of cool stuff like that. It's really neat. It's got a swimming pool. So wow, awesome amenities. And then when you go in the back, if you're camping in the back loop, it's kind of like, screw you, you're peasants. You get porta potties, and that's just how it goes. So kind of a mix there for amenities. And as far as the surrounding area, that is also a mix. The national park itself, for being a tiny national park, if you are into hiking, has outstanding hiking. It's got a lot of great views that you can hike to. A lot of cool stuff there. Again, if you just want to do it by car, you are only going to see half a park at a time because they are not connected by road. If you want to hike through, they are connected by hiking trail. So you can see the whole park by hiking. So you get a high score for that, but then again, a low score because around the area, there's nothing else. Pinnacles is kind of isolated in the Pinnacles, and there's not a whole lot else around there. It's an hour or so drive to the nearest town to do anything like that. So, and also for those who care, and this doesn't affect the score, by the way, I do not include this part in my score because it's not why I go camping, but I know it's important to some people and stuff like that. When you are in Pinnacles National Park, you will have zero cell signal. Zero. We had none in the park, and it took about 30 minutes of driving to get anywhere where there was cell signal from that area. So do not expect to be able to contact the outside world from Pinnacles National Park. If that's important to you, keep that in mind. But again, that's not going to affect my score. But my score total for Pinnacles National Park is a 3, which is the lowest I've given so far. But that's still considered, I would think it's right in the middle. It's an average score. So I'm not saying it's bad. My wife and I had a great time. We had a really good hike there. It was fun. But unfortunately, there were just some things that it's like, oh, for crying out loud. You know, why do I got to use a porta potty? And if I want to shower, I have to drive all the way over. It just, and then the explanations we got were kind of like, yeah, we had a bathroom there for a while, but we tore them down because we kept having pipe problems. Oh, well, I don't know, maybe figure out what's going on and fix the pipe problems, right? See, the chickens agree. I hear you, you laid an egg. I am proud of you. That's Ruby, she laid an egg. I can see her. That's called an egg song, but I don't know if you guys who don't have chickens understand that, but lots of chickens do what's called an egg song after they lay an egg. They like to announce it to everybody that look what I did type of thing. So that's cool. I know I got an egg, at least one egg over there waiting for me when I go check. Pinnacles National Park, a 3. Please don't take that as it's a crappy park, don't go see it, because it's not. It really is neat. The other warning I want to give you is, even though it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, it draws a lot of Bay Area, apparently, South Bay day traffic on like Saturday. Because when we went Saturday to try and get on the trails, it was just packed. We ended up taking a drive outside the park to kind of see the area, because it's a neat area there in the foothills that are between 5 and 101. You've got this whole range of mountains and hills that are kind of neat. So we kind of took a drive and enjoyed that because the trails were just packed. We ended up going on a later afternoon hike, and even then it was still fairly busy. So on a Saturday, you better be ready for crowds. For such a small park, it fills up fast. So there you go. Pinnacles National Park, I give it a 3, but I still recommend it. It is a cool park. Give it a shot.